Hello, boys and girls. Okay, today we're even going to go another level up from the other level. In case you come across an atheist who, tries to talk science with you, which is what they always do to try to trip you up and confuse you. They'll try to talk science. They'll bring up the whole thing about evolution. It's like their favorite weapon against Christians is that they'll bring up evolution, this silly theory that everything came from nothing, and the complexity that you see in the world around you just threw itself together arbitrarily. That's what they think happened, and it's just so silly that they think it all just came to be, all on its own without God. So I thought I would put together some little science experiments of my own to show how silly this idea is. Okay, the first one is real simple. I'm just going to direct my camera this way. Okay, see this? This is part of a lamp. This thing is the clamp, okay? And this is the thing that goes on here. Well, I'm actually not quite sure how it goes, but what it does is it attaches to a lamp, and you put the bulb in the lamp, and then you have a heat lamp for, like, birds, okay? So let's just do this. Okay, we're just tossing it around. See? It's not putting itself together, is it? See? I mean, I could try a whole bunch of different random ways, and it just doesn't ever put itself together. And so, okay, so what does that tell you? Okay, and then my other example is this. See this? This is pencils. Well, actually, it's a bunch of material that is needed to make a pencil. See, I've got an eraser in there. I've got yellow painted wood. There's lead in there. Everything that you could possibly need to make a pencil. But you know what? The atheist will tell you is, for evolution to happen, you also need gravity. So I'm going to use this, and just FYI, I am totally against this product. I think it's cruel to the poor gorillas, but it's the only glue I had in my junk drawer. So okay, we're gonna put it up like this. We're gonna pour some glue in here, and see, the glue will be what's the word I'm trying? This will basically symbolize gravity. It doesn't want to go. It's very stubborn gravity. Okay, a little more in there. Okay. Doesn't want to go. It's very frustrating being scientists. Tell you what, it's just easier reading the Bible. I don't know how these scientists, Okay, so we got our gravity in the bag with our material, and we're going to kind of shake it up, and then we're going to do this because, they always say there's a bang involved, so we're going to do this. Okay, kind of. Okay, so we banged it. We're going to shake it some more. Okay, so here's our pencil that we just created with gravity and force. Don't think Johnny could do his homework with that, do you? See? Proving my point again. Once again, we proved that evolution doesn't work. Okay? And of course, the last one, I like this analogy. See, this is a brick. Okay, let's watch the brick. It's going to throw itself. It's basically going to make itself into a wall. See, nothing's happening because there's no creator, there's no designer, there's no carpenter. See, it's just sitting there. Now, if God were involved in this picture, he'd probably replicate the brick like he replicated the bread, when he was feeding the multitudes. Yeah, and that's how it would happen. Is he'd multiply the brick, and then once he did that, he'd have the material to make the brick wall. I'm putting the bottle back on the Gorilla Glue. I feel so sad every time I use this stuff, just because I like gorillas. Anyway, so that's just some rather crude, I admit. In my bird room scientific experiments to show you the fallacy of the whole theory of evolution. It's just absurd. I mean, the brick is still, in case you're wondering, the brick is still sitting here. It's not even moved. It's not doing anything. It's not doing, and the pencil is still in just little tiny pieces, even after, and I banged it several times. Okay, and what was the lamp thing? The lamp thing's a joke. I'm sorry, but it would take somebody to put that together, some kind of builder. You can't just take pieces and expect them to just build themselves. So I just disproved the whole theory of evolution. So take that, atheists. And you guys take note, because it's really easy to do. You just have to have some just very simple idea of how science works. And speaking of science, I thought maybe next time we would maybe talk about cosmology. Or is it cosmetology? Anyway, we'll figure that out before we meet again next week, if it's cosmetology or what it is exactly. But anyway, just remember these as possible things you can use in your defense when you run up against those atheists who want to try to tell you that that you have to have, that you don't need a designer. It's like, how silly. This is. And then I was going to say, this is another thing they'll try to throw at you, is the whole circular logic argument. They'll say that if complexity requires a designer, then where is God's designer? What made God, if something is, obviously God would have to be more complex. Okay, he'd have to be more complex than we are to make us. So something more complex than he is would have to make him. And then you have, okay, well then if something is more complex than God to make God, then something even more complex than that would have to make that so it could make God. And then if something is more complex than the thing that made God, then there would have to be something more complex than the thing that made God. You see where I'm going with this? It goes on and on and on. It's silly. I mean, eventually you have to have something that comes from nothing. And so why can't it just be God? Why? How far back do they want us to go? Okay, in the beginning there was God. Okay, and he came from nothing. I think that's perfectly logical. Anyway, I don't want this to get too long, you guys. Put on your thinking hats, and maybe you want to try these experiments on your own and see if you get the same results. But I'm betting you will. Thanks for listening. Bye.